Hello, everyone, and welcome along to Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's the tennis betting podcast brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. What a couple of days we've had over in China for the Asian Swing. The Asian Swing has been fantastic for us. And over in Shanghai, we had two winners yesterday. And we got our future picks in action from our man who's just about to join me there. It's our senior ATP Tour handicapper, Sean Calvert. It's all gone well. The Asian Swing is fantastic. Why couldn't the whole year be like the Asian Swing, Sean?
I think it's easier. I mean, we had a decent time in the Asian Swing last year. As I said on the show the other day, there are options. You know, you can look at players and say, well, he's fatigued. He's not played China before. These conditions won't suit him. A lot of the tournaments, you can't really do that, particularly the sort of indoor ones at the start and the end of the tour. There's no real edge there. There's nothing that you can really say, well, he's fatigued or he's motivated or he's not motivated. This time of the year, the motivation, that plays a big part. I think that's why we've been successful in this leg of the swing.
It's been an unbelievable run. We had the finalists who's the finalist? We had Nishioka, the finalist, and then we had the winner, Mannarino.
Mannarino, yeah.
Really, technically, you class Astana as the Asian Swing, but anyway, we'll
it's counted as the Asian Swing. I mean, I wouldn't personally class it as an Asian tournament per se, but it's part of the Asian Swing, yeah. So
we'll have it. It's part of the Asian Swing for us. And last night we had two winners, two picks. The over total games in the match between my memory's gone. Tell me
Vukic and Kobayashi.
And then we had the Borges match against Barrère.
Borges, yeah, he won that pretty easy. Slow start, but he won it, handily as I hoped he had. I did think those prices were the wrong way around. I think there was quite a move for Barrère in the end. I think he started about 1.7 something.
I was just about to ask you that because I thought the market might come the other way. So he actually went for our man.
Yeah, he was. I didn't see the actual starting prices, but he was a good 1.75 or something like that, a little bit before the match started. So the market came very much in favour of Barrère. Yeah.
So he moved from -108 to -133 on the Bet Rivers website. So that was a good. Well, we're heading in great form. Coming towards the end of the season now, but we're up to 16.83 units, which is brilliant profit. I mean, it's around about 4% return of your investment if you had bet all the stuff that we've given here on this show. And I always aim, I know you aim a little bit higher over the periods that you've done tennis, but I think 5%. I think if you make 5% on sports betting, you are a very shrewd cookie. I know you've historically...
You know more about this than I do because you've obviously seen it from both sides, from the bookmaker side. You're more kind of clued up about that than I am. I just go with the feel of matches and stuff, but I think you know a bit more about how it really works.
5% is hard. If you can make 5% betting, then that is for me, that is the leveler. If someone can show me data of their sports betting for 3 or 4 years and make 5% of ROI on solid markets, I'm not talking about like players to win the next point or people to have shots on target in soccer or some random stuff. If you can make on markets with volume, money line, total games, handicaps, the stuff that we talk about here, if you can make 5%, you are a shrewd cookie. I see some stuff on Twitter. And I see
we made a lot more last year, a ton more.
Than that. But we did well on the futures, didn't we? I mean, but really, honestly, the futures, you can either have a great year on the futures or a poor year on the futures. But I think 5% is the benchmark. That to me is the benchmark. So if we're up to 4 after some sort of rocky roads, sort of Wimbledon after that, and if we can get up to 5%, that to me is like thumbs up. So no pressure, Mr. Calvert. No pressure at all to get that 5%.
I'll try.
No pressure. Anyway, we're going to go on tomorrow. We've got 5 matches to talk about over in Shanghai. The first match we're going to talk about is quite an interesting one. Again, I always open this gambit with quite an interesting one. But before we go on to that match, it's Nishioka against Casper Ruud. So these two sort of their fitness levels must be at very different levels as we come into this. But before we go into it, the conditions again, still what we predicted at the start. We spoke a couple of days ago. Still, how you see it. What your stats telling us about the court speed. Anything we need to learn from that?
It looks pretty quick. I don't think it's quite as quick as previous Shanghai. Players again have had different opinions on this. Murray said it was slow, and then got hit off the court in a night match by Safiullin. I don't know whether he's changed his opinion on that after that match. And Fritz said it was quick, but the balls were slow. The best stats that I've got after the first 16 main draw matches tell me that it's 80% holds and 72.4% first serve points won. That's down on the average of previous years, which is 82% and 73.3. But it still looks, it's still pretty good. It's a decent paced hard court. I think some of the courts are playing differently as well, which makes the data a bit skewed. There's a lot of courts here, a lot of matches on outside courts. So the matches I've seen, they look slightly differently paced. But I think the bottom line is it's a court that does favour first strike tennis. Big serve, big forehand, that'll do it for you. You can hit winners on it. A lot of these courts on the tour this year, it's hard to hit winners, but you can do it here. So
you've said, sorry, you said before though, haven't you, in your strategy this year, you like these kind of courts, you like quick conditions because you can read it. There's more potential upsets. So these are the conditions you like. So you know what we're seeing here is your kind of surface and your kind of read of a tournament.
Yeah, if you've got conditions that are either a lot slower or a lot quicker than average, then that gives you an edge. If all these courts are going to be playing sort of medium, slow, it makes it easier for the layers, I think, and it makes it, it gives us an edge. It gives us something to work with, which we don't have every single tournament.
Yeah, so the first match, though, is quite a tricky one to call. This one is now, all these matches are available on the BetRivers website, and they start in the early hours of Friday morning. We are recording this on Thursday afternoon, which is Thursday morning stateside. So you have a few hours to head to the BetRivers website and get on these. And Sean is in tremendous form at the moment, so I would advise to head across very quickly because the market does move in Sean's favour, especially over the last couple of weeks. Casper Ruud is up against Nishioka. Nishioka has actually did well for us, and he's played a lot of tennis in recent weeks. He's plus 185 to win this match. Casper Ruud is minus 235. The handicap here is 3.5. Nishioka is plus 3.5 and minus 134. The total is 22.5. They've met twice before. They met in Seoul in Asia when Nishioka won in 3 sets, 2-1 in the fairly quick conditions, and they met in Madrid at altitude where Ruud won, unsurprisingly, on clay, 6-1, 6-2. So I look at this match here, Sean, and I think you've got to be very brave to have an opinion here. Hopefully you've got a stronger opinion than me, but I think Casper Ruud hasn't played much tennis. He's coming in quite cold. He's played the Laver Cup after the US Open. He did well there. He's come through here in Beijing, got through the quarterfinal, and he got beat by Alcaraz. This is his first match. We've seen him on Twitter, seen him on social media. His sort of love of tennis and his close season, it seems to have diminished slightly. And Nishioka has come through a very, very long couple of weeks. He's won in Shanghai. He's got to the last 16 in Beijing where he got beat by Yannick Sinner. Interested to see what you think about this match, because I think this is a very, very tricky opener.
I'm taking Nishioka here. I don't think Ruud is doing much. You're right. He got to the quarterfinals of Beijing, but he was very, very fortunate. He should have lost to Echeverry. Echeverry made a mess of that. Echeverry should have beaten him in that match. The conditions in Asia, they're perfect for Nishioka. All right, he's played a lot of tennis, but he's got this week and next week in Tokyo, and then he can put his feet up after that because it's the indoor swing. He's not going to do much there. This is his like summer, if you like. It's not the summer, but you know what I mean. This is his time of the year where he puts in an absolutely 110% effort, where others are putting in maybe 80, 90%. So there's an edge here for Nishioka. As you said, he beat Ruud as a 3.94 plus 294 chance in similar conditions, very similar conditions in Seoul a year ago. It was quick there. Nishioka can test out that backhand of Ruud on a court like this. The fact that it's a day match as well, I think that will really help Nishioka. Ruud tends to get a lot of night matches. Like last week, he got lucky. We picked Struff, didn't we, to take the first set over Ruud, and we spoke about that about 3 days before they actually played. They ended up playing right at the last part of the day, 3 days later. So we got unlucky with the schedule here. He gets a lot of night matches. This is a day match. I think it will obviously be quicker, so easier for Nishioka there. Lots of left-handers have beaten Ruud on hard courts. I can name them: Humbert, Shelton, Vesely, Nishioka himself, Manarino, Pella. They've all beaten Ruud on hard courts, all left-handers. His actual record is 8-9 win-loss versus left-handers at main level on all hard courts. And if we look at his all-time record away from clay, so every other surface other than clay at main level against left-handers, he's only got a 37% win rate and a service points won return points, won total of 98. Compare that with his record against all opponents. He's 52% win rate and 101 total. So he's some way down against left-handers on the quicker surfaces than he is against right-handers. So there's a lot to like about Nishioka. He's obviously already played one match here to adapt to the quick conditions. Yeah, it was a tough match, but he's had a day off after that, because this is almost like a Grand Slam now, isn't it? These Masters, 1000s, they're over a much longer period. You do get a day's rest in between. More than happy to take Nishioka. I took him at 2-1. I think he's plus 185 now at Bet Rivers. He was earlier.
Yep, currently 185. Casper Ruud is minus 235. The motivation is definitely for the home player. Nishioka is obviously the Asian player. All the fans will be out to support him. And he's in great form as well. Plus 185. My only worry about that, Sean, is like, as I mentioned there, he's played a lot of tennis recently, and Casper Ruud comes in a little bit more fresher. So, but motivation is a huge part of any sport. And you would think that Nishioka is much more motivated than Casper Ruud here. The next match we're going to talk about is a repeat of the final in Chengdu. It's Alexander Zverev against Roman Safiullin. Safiullin beat Andy Murray in round one here to get this far. He's in great form here. Alexander Zverev, talking about players who must be exhausted. Alexander Zverev must be absolutely dead on his feet, the amount of tennis he's been playing recently. He's minus 265. Roman Safiullin is plus 205. I'm going to come on to some props after you give us your analysis on this match.
Yeah, I like Safiullin here. He was within a couple of points of beating Zverev in straight sets in the Chengdu final a couple of weeks ago. It's even quicker here than it was in Chengdu. And quite tellingly, Zverev said after the match he hadn't got a clue what to do during the first two sets of that match. He was being completely outplayed by Safiullin. Safiullin I think he just blinked a little bit. He was about to win a main level title against Zverev, and he was a couple of points away. And he sort of backed off a bit, which is not in Safullin's nature. He normally goes for too much, if anything, but he choked it a little bit. Not a complete choke, but he could have done better, I think, there. This time, as you said, Zverev's come in here, a lot of tennis in his legs. And Safiullin will have the advantage of having played one match in exactly the same conditions, because he played Andy Murray, as you said, but it was a night match. This is another night match. So Safullin's already played in these exact conditions, and he had no problem with the speed of the court. He was excellent against Andy Murray. He was a very, very comfortable winner. Murray just couldn't cope with that kind of play, the aggressive play of Safiullin. It will get its rewards. He's the type of player that should go well in these conditions. Now, if we look at the stats of these pair over the last 10 main level matches, Zverev's been winning a lot of matches. He won the title in Chengdu, as we said, got to semis in Beijing. Mm-hmm. But his stats aren't better than Safullin's in the last 10 matches. Both got the same service points won and return points won, total of 105. Safiullin, slight edge on the service hold and break totals by 110 to 109. So, you're looking at the stats, they're very similar, slight edge to Safiullin. Safiullin could have beaten him in straight sets a couple of weeks ago. If he plays his best stuff, Safiullin, in these conditions, he's going to be very, very difficult for Zverev to overcome. A tired Zverev as well. So I took Safiullin earlier on at 3.2. I think he's around about 3.05 now with Bet Rivers.
Yeah, he's plus 205. 29 different markets available to bet with Safiullin. The spread is 3.5. Safiullin receiving 3.5 is a heavy favourite, minus 141. You might want to use the little toggle on the Bet Rivers website, move it down to 2.5 to probably get some plus money for Safiullin here. The total is 22.5 with over minus 125 and under minus 103. But Safiullin here came very, very close to beat Zverev in Chengdu. Zverev is tired. Safullin's playing some of the best tennis of his career in the last few weeks. And at plus 205, Sean thinks he is a bet here to get the better of Alexander Zverev. Moving on to next match. Felix Auger-Aliassime is in some dreadful form. We took a chance on him, didn't we, a couple of weeks back at 40-1, and he didn't do anything for us. Minus 167, though, favourite against Marton Fucsovics. If you look at the head-to-head between the two of them, it's 2-1 to Felix Auger-Aliassime. Fucsovics has got a 16-10 record on hard this year. Felix Auger-Aliassime is 11-11, which is very poor from his standard from last year. The last time they did meet was in Cincinnati, and Felix won 7-6, 6-3. But that was a very different Felix that took to the court in that match to one that's going to take the court tomorrow in Shanghai. Felix Auger-Aliassime, we went there, didn't we? We went there. We got our fingers burnt. Are we going to go back, or is he in the Sebastian Korda camp.
He's in this price is no good camp. It's not a great price.
You won't say the Sebastian Korda camp because you don't want someone to come out in 5 years' time and edit this and say that you don't want to say I'm done with him. You don't want to do that.
You're a bit quick to throw him away. I'm not chucking Korda away, but I am just briefly going back to Korda if we must. His mental strength looks nowhere near where it needs to be. But that can be improved. He's only still a relatively young player. That's something that he definitely needs to work on. And if he does work on it, watch out. But at the minute, yeah.
Me and him are done. We're finished. We're finished. Anyway, Felix, tell me why minus 167.
What I was talking about now. Felix, yes. Fucsovics looks value at this price. He tends to play his best tennis in quicker conditions. A lot of people will probably remember, I certainly will because I was there, that he made the semi-finals of Stuttgart as a qualifier in the summer. He won 5 matches there, lost a tight one to TFO in the semis. And you won't get any quicker conditions on the tour than that. So he should go well in these conditions, Fucsovics. If we look at the stats of 2023 at main level on all surfaces, Felix has only got a 48% win rate and a service points won, return points won total of 100. Fucsovics, 55% win rate and a 101 total. So he's better in that regard. Again, away from clay, if we just take clay out of the equation, so all the other surfaces, Felix, again, nowhere near on the win rate, 52% compared to 61% for Fucsovics. And the service points won and return points won totals are identical at 101. So stats-wise this season, there's nothing to suggest that Felix should be favourite for this, or certainly not as short as he is. So I took a look at how Felix has performed as a favourite when he's been priced up in the bracket between 1.5 and 1.69. That's roughly minus 200 to minus 145 at main level. He's lost 6 of his last 8 main level matches in that price range, and he's lost all 3 that he's played this season. And in his career as a whole, even when he was playing better, he's still a guy that would have lost you money if you were betting him in this price range. He's 9-9 win-loss on outdoor hard in that price range. So he's never done you any favors as a favorite of these odds. Fucsovics, on the other hand, I took a look at what he does in this price range as an underdog. That's the 2.3 to 2.5 range, plus 130 to plus 150. Now, he would have made you a slight profit. He's won 6 and lost 8 of those 14 matches that he's played, 3-3 on outdoor hard. So he would have made you a profit if you were betting him in this price range. Felix certainly wouldn't. So all told, I think it's a not a great price on Felix. I mean, Fucsovics isn't always the most reliable, but I do like him in these sort of conditions. So plus 135 about Fucsovics, that's another bet.
What I try to do sometimes is try to put it's quite a difficult thing to say, but I've tried to put my mind into the mind of a tennis player.
Yes.
Now, how would I feel in this position? And I think, people who know me will disagree with what I'm going to say here, but I think I'm like a normal kind of guy. I think I'm quite average, but I know no problem. But if I was Felix Auger-Aliassime and had in the worst 6 months of my tennis career, I just want the season to be over. I don't want to. I don't want to win matches and win tournaments and go deep in the tournament. I just want it to be done. Get to the off season, and I'll work on my game to come back to the Australian Open pretty tight. So there's this sort of tendency that people think to themselves, like I say, they want to win something to improve and get better, or you're going to jack it in.
Well, there is motivation. He's going to lose a ton of ranking points if he doesn't start playing soon. So I'm not sure he can afford to jack it in this season, because he won 3 or 4 tournaments.
Great point. I didn't realise that. He was brilliant at the end of last year, wasn't he?
So he's got a lot of ranking points due to come off.
Yes,
that's the problem. Ordinarily, yes, I would agree with you, but I think in this instance, if he does that, he's going to start the season at about number 53 or something or whatever. So that's a big problem there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I forgot he ended so well, didn't he? He won 3. Did he win 3 tournaments in 4 back to back? Then he got to he went to Paris, didn't he?
He lost in, didn't we? We backed him in Astana, lost in the first round to Bautista Agut, and then he won the next 3.
Yeah, and
then made a final or semi-final in the other one.
But for me,
that's a lot of ranking points.
Yeah, for me, I'll be thinking myself, I want to get home, get back, just get back.
That's why you're not in the top 20 in the world of tennis.
Oh well, top 30, but anyway, top 20. Anyway, next match we're going to talk about Ben Shelton against Jaume Munar.
He is in the top 20. Shelton now.
He is in the top 20 as well. Head to the BetRivers website on that Felix Auger-Aliassime match. That match starts at, what time does that match start? Let's find it. It's 1:50 a.m. The Roman Safiullin-Alexander Zverev is a late match. It's an evening match. It's 7:40 Eastern time. 1:50 a.m. Felix against Marton Fucsovics. And there's a whole host of markets available on the BetRivers. And you can live stream. If you place a wager, you can watch the match from your comfort of your own home on your tablet or your mobile phone. Ben Shelton, who is in the top 20, as you say, is minus 335 against Jaume Munar. I looked at this match when you sent it through. Actually, I sort of cast my eye over it, and I thought, Sean Light's an underdog. He cannot possibly make a case for Jaume Munar here. Jaume Munar has won one match from 7 on a hard court. Ben Shelton is a player on the up. He's a public play, probably minus 335, may not be value. But given his record here, got to the semi-final, against Djokovic in the US Open. He's had a great run through there. Confidence must be sky high. And he went to the Laver Cup and he beat Artur Fils in straight sets there as well. Minus 335 here is the price. The handicap is minus 3.5, minus 127 for Shelton. Munar is even money, and the total is 22.5. Now, Sean, when I saw this bet, I thought you've got to be taking Shelton minus 3.5. Quick conditions, confidence, bit of swagger. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Well, I'm not taking Shelton on the handicap, no.
Well, you're making a case for Munar. He's only won one match and hard.
Yeah, I know, but there's reasons for this. I mean, okay, I just wonder what we're going to see from Shelton. Now he's in the top 20, US Open semi-finalist. Went to the Laver Cup. That's all a bit of a jolly. Yeah, that's great. You're playing with your mates, having a bit of a laugh. All very well and good. Never played in China in his career so far. Never even played in Asia. So this is all going to be very much new territory for Shelton. He might handle this very, very easily, but now he's expected to roll over the likes of Munar. And you would, as you say, you would expect him to win in these conditions. But Munar is an absolute pest. If you look at his 11 career matches that he's played against top 20 opponents on hard courts, he's either won a set or played a tiebreak in 9 of those 11 matches. And he actually won the last one, beat Casper Ruud in straight sets in quick conditions in Tokyo last year. He's not going to roll over here, Munar. 5 of those 10 matches, I said 11 earlier, but 1 was played in a different scoring system because it was the next gen thing where they have a different set of rules. So 5 of the 10 matches that he's played against top 20 opponents on hard courts that featured a tiebreak. He's 5-5 win-loss against left-handers on hard courts. Played 1 match in these conditions already. Yes, I would expect Shelton to win the match, but I like the odds of tiebreak played here. 2.32 plus 132. You're getting about Shelton playing a tiebreak with BetRivers.
I like that bet. I like that bet.
It was a long-winded way of saying that's the bet for this one, yeah.
I do like that bet, Sean, but he'll win easy, Shelton.
Yeah.
But the first set tiebreak and then he'll win the second set easy.
Possibly, but I mean, I'm just looking at it from the way that people are just making an automatic assumption that Shelton's going to win. I mean, he did nothing between the Australian Open and the US Open. Absolutely nothing at all. Now, we'll see. You know, he's top 20, pressure on. He might handle it great. He might not. We've seen loads of players not handle this sort of situation at all. And I've seen countless occasions where Munar has just been an absolute pest to get off the court. Yeah, he'll probably lose, Munar. I'm sure he probably will, but he ain't going to lose easy, I don't think.
I like your play. I like the play. I think it's a great play, but I think Shelton's got something about him. You know, I think he's a kid who's going to be. He'll love the attention. I think he'll love the hype, and I think he'll love all the media attention. He just seems that kid. You know, his father's like obviously a tennis player who's been in and around the game for many years. I think he'd be okay. But would I bet him at minus 335? No. Would I bet him minus 3.5? No. But when I saw the match there, I thought, well, is Sean going to make a case for Munar?
But I like to keep you guessing. I don't like to just make it obvious.
I know. And this one's got to be guessing.
That's just a lean anyway. That's just a lean. It would terrify me, but I think that's, if you are betting in that, I think that's value.
The next match has got me guessing, actually, because I have a bit of an opinion on this one. And I don't usually have an opinion. But I'm interested to see what you say. No, not really. not on this show. I have opinions in life, and I have opinions on various different things. But I don't really. I'll leave it all to you. But this match interests me. It's Yannick Hanfmann against Christopher Eubanks, and this starts at 12:30 a.m. So it's an early start. So it's going to be really, really quick. Christopher Eubanks, look, really, really quick, but it's going to be quicker conditions. Christopher Eubanks is obviously suited by these conditions, but he's had a real long year. He's broken out on his form at Wimbledon. He's suddenly become a media star as well as a tennis star as well, and he's got a huge following as well. And he's up against Yannick Hanfmann, who's more suited by the slow courts. Christopher Eubanks is -104, Hanfmann is -120. The spread is 1.5, and the total here is very high. It's 23.5, which is the highest total of all the matches tomorrow. They haven't met once before, and that was on clay, but way back in 2018 in qualification, where Hanfmann won 7-6, 7-5, which you would expect. And the fact that Eubanks actually went 7-6, 7-5 in on the clay, it gives me more of a positive for Eubanks here. I like Eubanks here at -104. I really do. It's whether he wants to give it in and after a long year and really give it the challenge and really go for it after a long season. But what do you think here, Sean?
You would have thought conditions would suit Eubanks. My lean here is a tiebreak. I thought it was going to be shorter than it is. It was 1.98, just a shade of minus money with Bet Rivers earlier on. If you look at, I looked at another match, Kokkinakis against Hurkacz, which is 1.46 on tiebreak being played, which is very, very short. I mean, there are reasons for that. They've played pretty much every set they've played has been a tiebreak, but this one looks tiebreaky to me. I mean, as you said, that they went 7-6, 7-5 on clay at the French Open, the only time they've played before. Eubanks not had much luck at all since making the Wimbledon quarterfinals. He's had the sort of dip that I just alluded to about Ben Shelton may have after making the Wimbledon quarterfinals. Eubanks was sick at the US Open, wasn't he? Had some sort of illness. Then he went as an alternate to the Laver Cup, so he's not really played much at all in the last sort of couple of months, really. Looking at the stats, Eubanks has definitely had a problem breaking serve at main level. He's only broken serve 12% of the time away from clay this season at main level. It's nowhere near enough, and it explains why he's played a lot of tie breaks, as does the fact that he's only won 31% of return points away from clay. The return game isn't up to it. We know Hanfmann's a strong server. Eubanks isn't match sharp, so his ground game might be a bit scruffy. As far as the match odds are concerned, I can see why it's priced as it is. This season, 2023 stats away from clay, main level. Hanfmann, not a very good win rate, 39% win rate, but his service points won and return points won total is a touch better than Eubanks, 100 to 99. Eubanks got a much better win rate, though, 58%. Much better win rate. So that's something in favor of Eubanks. But I feel like tie breaks are highly likely here. So if you are betting in this match, my advice would be over half a tie break. Just a squeak of odds on with Bet Rivers.
I watched the match today between Hanfmann and Duckworth, and I actually bet Duckworth at plus
that had a tiebreak as well, didn't it?
Plus 150, and it was a long tiebreak. It was a real long tiebreak, and Duckworth should have put it to bed, and then he got broken straight away in the third set. But I wasn't impressed with Hanfmann. I wasn't impressed with him at all. I think Duckworth, if he fancied it a little bit more and he took the big points, he would have beaten him. So I didn't realise that Eubanks hadn't played since the US Open, so that's a bit of a concern for me. But if he does come back with some kind of form, then I think he'll be far too strong. But it's definitely an in-play bet for me. But obviously the tiebreaks, they're a great bet.
Yeah, he should really be looking forward to this, because Miami was a breakout for him as well, wasn't it, in quick conditions? And he also won on the grass, obviously. So, he's a player a bit like Barrera we mentioned the other day. He should be looking forward to this. He should be putting it 100% effort in, because this is a tournament he could go well at on his best form.
It could go well. Hopefully going well is our pick. Herbert Hurkacz, he's in action as well against Kokkinakis, which is at 3:10 a.m. Head to the Bet Rivers website there. Hurkacz is -$2 to win that. Total games in that match is 25.5, which is staggeringly high.
I've got some stats on that if you want me to go through them.
Yeah, go through it. Go through it.
Head-to-head, 6 of the 8 sets those two have contested have been tie-breaks. Kokkinakis has held serve 98% of the time against Hurkacz, but he saved a massive and frankly ridiculous 95% of the break points that Hurkacz has created. Hurkacz has taken 1 of 19 break point chances in the head-to-head against Kokkinakis. Some of that's Kokkinakis serving him away. Some of that's Hurkacz just making a mess of it. Hurkacz has held serve 92% of the time. So you can see why the totals are so big. But on the other side of the coin, Hurkacz has created an awful lot of breakpoint chances, just not been able to take any apart from one single solitary one. the service points won and return points won total very much in favour of Hurkacz, 104 to 96. So Hurkacz has been the better player, but he's been terrible at taking his chances. So on the bare stats, you can see why it's such a high line for the total games. But Hurkacz, if he sharpens up his return game, he should be able to win that.
That's our pick. So Hurkacz, we want him to win, not official play, just a pick for the tournament, to win the tournament. Not anything on that match, but the total game's very interesting there, 25.5. So you might want to go over at -107, give the stats, and under is -120. There are 4 ways to follow us here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. You can download the podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, on your preferred podcast provider. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that. We've got so many followers in the last few weeks on there. Brilliant content on the soccer. The Cricket World Cup is in action. The guys are giving some great content there. Cricket might be unusual for you in America, but I tell you, it's a great sport. And if you want the best handicappers, we've got the best 2 handicappers there are available in the world on the cricket's coverage there. It doesn't matter where you bet, as long as you bet a win. It doesn't matter what sport it is it, Sean? No. And also obviously the tennis as well, myself and Sean, as we count down to the end of the 2023 tennis season. And you can subscribe to us at Betting Weekly Studios on YouTube. Also subscribe to our socials, which are at Because We Win on Instagram and Twitter. So Sean, before we go, just give us a recap, your official picks for tomorrow, the early hours of Friday, from 12:30 a.m. Friday morning all the way through till 8 o'clock in the morning. Tennis all the way through, live streamed on BetRivers website. What are your picks?
Yeah, I'm taking 3 underdogs here. Nishioka 2.85 to beat Casper Ruud. Safiullin, similar price, 3.05. Slightly bigger, actually, to beat Zverev. And Fucsovics, 2.35 plus 135 at BetRivers to beat Felix Auger-Aliassime.
So there you go. 3 dogs and man's in form. 2 winners from the last podcast. Couple of a nice 16-1 winner on the outright last week and a 20-1 place the week before. So the Asian swing has definitely been delivering for us. Take care, Sean. We're back tomorrow, looking ahead to the next round of matches on Saturday morning. Enjoy your night. I know your little lad's not too well, so hopefully he gets a little bit better.
No.
So,
got a little bit sicky today. He's off school, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm going to go and see how he is in a minute.
All right, mate. Take care. Good luck with your bets, and we'll see you all again tomorrow.